Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 felony counts. So we now have a convicted felon running for president of the United States. Very interesting turn of events. And what I like to say about these political readings that I do with Bazi Astrology, we're just looking at the chart, taking everything out as best we can. So I'm going to look at today with you what the astrology was for the day that he was found guilty, and also what is the forecast for the sentencing day, July 11th. Hi, my name is Lydia, and this is the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. On this channel, I often like to read the charts of famous people because I think it helps us to better understand our own charts and our own lives. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is something that you're interested in, curious about, really want to follow the astrology of this presidential election, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Thank you again for being here. Oh, my gracious friends, this has been, you know, when I was studying to get my master's, went back to my teacher, Dr. Paul Yan, to get my master's in Bazi Chinese Astrology. We looked at a lot of celebrity charts. And Donald Trump was one of them. This was back in 2018. And my teacher said to me, this is like, it's just a very interesting chart to pull apart and look at. And I agree. I think that, like I was saying a minute ago, when you take away the personality and what we know of this person, if we just look at the chart, take the name away, just look at the chart. That's how I try my best to do this. All right. We all have opinions. This is not that here. I try to be as objective as I can, and I appreciate you keeping comments and questions as positive as possible. At the end of the day, friends, let's be kind. Okay, let's make that shift in our world by just being kind. I will put links to all of the many charts and videos I've made that include Donald Trump so that you can go back and review them and see the buildup of this story. I watched and followed along on YouTube as many of the videos about the trial as possible. Maybe it's because I'm born in October. I don't know, but I find the legal system, judicial system to be fascinating. And that really started for me, I think, with O.J. Simpson's trial. And then, again, another one that comes to mind is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trial. So I think we can learn a lot about people when they're sitting in those chairs and defending their lives and their actions, etc. All right, so conviction day. This isn't so bad. Could have been a whole lot worse for him. Conviction day was Yang Wood Dragon Year, as we know, and the day of Yin Earth Snake, or the month of Yin Earth Snake, and the day of Yang Wood Horse. Okay, so what actually was going on that day in his Bazi astrology is this. It reinforced his chart, and his chart is almost all what serves him, supports him, and himself. This is someone who has over 50% of his own element of earth and over 40% of what supports him, which is fire. This is where you have a Jalbird chart that speaks of someone that has so much resource that it's too much. This chart is so imbalanced. It is so hot and dry. And because it's so hot and dry, it's like a desert. It's like being out in the desert, in the hot sun. That is his chart. It is not conducive to his long-term health. And it is one of those charts that I would be very concerned about his heart And I would also be very concerned about his overall welfare. This is just very imbalanced. Now let's break this down. So this particular year, because he's born in the year of the dog, is giving him a penalty or a conflict because the dog and the dragon are enemies. Now, this isn't as bad because it's his year and not his day, but what it does do is it shows movement. This is movement like a lot of traveling, right? And he certainly is going and to, you know, going around and doing his thing for being president. And I don't think that that was thinking of sitting for how many weeks he had to sit in the courthouse, but it shows movement. Okay. And that can even be physical, like moving from one house to another house. And then the month of the snake, you know, when you look at the whole thing, like if we just look at the fact that you've got all of these, the dragon, the snake, and the horse are bringing in a full fire trio, reinforced from what's already in his chart, a semi-seasonal trio, again of fire, again reinforced from his chart, and that the dragon and the dog boost up his already inflated earth, weaken his non-existent water, and damage his fire. And that is his support. So as it's kind of like 5 steps forward, 1 step back kind of a feeling of that there's a certain amount of support that's leaving, okay? There are people that don't want to vote for a convicted felon, just saying. There's also I'll get to that in a second. All right, so all that to be said, what it feels like to me is that the conviction day reinforced a lot of the instability in his chart. It just reinforces all this heat, an enormous fireball of heat. The sentencing day on July 11th is very interesting, okay? So we've already know it's a Yang Wood Dragon year. The month is going to be Yin Metal Sheep, and the day is Yang Fire Rat. So the rat with the dragon on sentencing day brings in a semi-water trio. And that's kind of interesting. Why? Because his chart is so out of balance. Oddly enough, the only element that I could see as being slightly beneficial would be metal, because metal helps to, you know, if you've got like a log jam of energy over here, metal is what helps to ease some of that buildup. It gives his earth a place to go. And that's needed. It's very much needed, but that's not what's happening. What we've got is water, and water is competition. And then we've got the sheep of the month with his dog. Yeah, forming a penalty that is these two great earth energies battling up against each other, weakening his life force. And it's from a lot of stress. Yeah. So, and then that the month of the sheep is also harming, is in a harm position to the rat of the day. And so, there feels to me like this surge of water is also money. And the fact that there is a then challenge to that water on the day of sentencing and a challenge with this year feels a little wonky. And honestly, I'm not exactly sure. Like, as far as penalties go, it could be far worse, okay? Remember that, yeah. So, sorry, I'm jumping around in my head a little bit. One of the things to recognize, the day of conviction, let's break down some of the meanings here. So this particular year is very much highlighting his job, his responsibilities. And it's also highlighting him playing alternative roles and having to be somebody outside of himself, if that makes sense. It also shows that he is pulling from different pools of people, different crowds of people. And it also shows loss of money. Tucked into the dragon is challenge to his career. It even shows that this could be damaging or shift things up. It shows also a instability with his health. Why was he sleeping so much in the trial? Maybe it was boring. I don't know. And it also shows, in addition to the health issues, that there is a channel of money coming in as there's money going out. So you're losing money, you're gaining money. The snake month really was speaking directly of himself and also legal matters. Well, there he is. This is conviction day. And tucked into that is a shift in identity. You've now been labeled for the rest of your life a convicted felon, and that can't be taken away. In addition to that, tucked into the snake is a certain amount of change, a real undercurrent of change going on in his life now. The day, again, was the same as the year. Yang Wood is speaking of all of his responsibilities in his work, and it speaks to his followers, himself, his sovereignty, and his backing. So you see, there is a margin of conflict and challenge in here, but it's not all bad, okay? And in fact, I would almost say that the month of the snake for him, tucked in there, could be like a revolution. This could spark big change within himself and within his party, within what radiates away from Donald Trump. Then, when we get to sentencing day, in addition to remembering the year being about, you know, that's the biggest piece here, is his responsibilities and his job and this new role or new identity that's been put upon him, the loss of money, the challenge to his career, the challenge and change to his career, and harm to himself within all of that. There could be, you know, it can be like a defamation, right? And within all that, there is a surge of income, but there's also a real question mark around his health. Sentencing day. Here we have a little bit of metal, which shows movement and action, and a real focus on him and his agency. And because of his chart, it's not just him. It's all the people rallied around him. It's that great big network of his. And there is mention of law. And so this is sentencing day. That lines up. And it shows a real hit to his career. A real, it's almost like an underground earthquake. This shaking, something's shaking up. The fact that that sheet hits his dog, you know, which reinforces the challenge within his chart, really shows the yes, there is a rumbling going on here. Things don't feel stable. Something's shaken up. The day of the sentencing, again, really front and center. This is about law. This is politics. This is government. This is front and center. And tucked into that, the rat speaks directly to, again, this is yin water. So it speaks directly of his health, his finances. Yeah. And I think that this is going to be, again, I don't see this as something that's like, I don't know that it's going to be a humongous change in his life. I am not going to sit here and say I think he's going to jail or not. But there is a lot of undercurrent going on here and a lot of instability. And I told you before that I really think his current luck cycle that he came into in November 2023 of the Yang Water Tiger is creating a semi-penalty with the Hour of the Snake, which is his career and his relationship to his children. And this is all penalized. This speaks of lawsuits. And in November 2023 is when I lost count of how many lawsuits he's got going on. But this is all coming to a head. And if you ask me, whatever sentencing is happening, there is going to be something in August, which is the monkey, that is going to be kind of like the Lego block that puts this whole penalty together to become full and fully realized. This is massive loss of money, bankruptcy, even death. This can be something that really is detrimental. And I know that everybody's eyes are now at July 11th, but I actually think that what we're going to see really blow up is going to be in August. So stay tuned, because you know I'll be back with more. So again, please keep your comments as positive and kind as you possibly can, or just don't say anything at all. And until next time, friends, be well.